है भी होसी जाए न जासी रचना जिन रचाई. है भी होसी जाए न jasi rachna jin rachai. Now this is bringing in words that we've seen right at the beginning near the Mool Mantar. Hai bhi sach, Nanak hosi bhi sach. So Guru's using the same words that ultimately the Japji Sahib is a description of that Mool Mantar. So maybe right at the beginning when we looked at that, we wouldn't have understood what Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai bhi Sach, Nanak hosi bhi sach, which is why the whole of the Japji Sahib exists. It's a continuation of that conversation that Guru starts with the Mool Mantar, and it continues to explain further that we're still talking about the same thing. It is now, hai bhi, hosi, it forever will be, jaye na jasi. Jaye means to be born, jaman. It is jaye na, it is never born, and na jasi. So the word na here is an example of this word that we've come across here before, which is this deuri dipki, which is a word which is in the middle of two different words, and the word in the middle applies to the one at the beginning and the one at the end. So jaye na jasi, that's how you have to interpret it. Hai bhi hosi, it is now, it forever will be, jaye na jasi, born not and does not go. It does not come and it does not go. Rachna jin rachai, so present now, always will be, never born nor dies, is that who created the creation. Rachna jin rachai, that one that created the creation. So Guru is clarifying again concepts that we've seen right in the beginning of the Mool Mantar, which is about Akal, Murat and Ajuni, the one that was never born and never dies. So Guru has mentioned time here, hai bhi hosi, present and future. So what Guru is talking about is that there is this oneness that is beyond time. It's beyond the three states of time. It isn't limited to past, present and future. This thing that we're talking about is beyond time. In fact, it's the creator of time itself. It is the creator of all, the sustainer of all. It's that permanent one. There is no equivalent Devi Devta that is worth even thinking about in parallel to this oneness. All these Devi Devte, everything is singing the praises of that final great one. There's no god or goddess that is worthy of praise, because they're all praising that oneness. So all the above mentioned creations, you create them, you destroy them, but we don't look at that which is created or destroyed, we look at the creative power, that creative force that's behind everything. Hai bhi hosi jaye na jasi, rachna jin rachai, rangi rangi pati kar kar, jinsi maya jin upai. So again, some people put the bisram after the word jinsi. Rangi rangi pati kar kar jinsi maya jin upai. But Professor Sahib Singh suggests that the bisram, the pause, appears at the end of rangi rangi pati kar kar jinsi maya jin upai. So rangi rangi, all these different colors. Pati means all these different shapes. Kar that you've created. Think about now all the description that Guru Nanak Dev Ji has given. Think about the entire world. Guru says that anything that has ever been created in those four sources of creation, all of the things in lots of different colors, in lots of different shapes and sizes. Jinsi, the word jinsi means species. In fact, it's related to the English word genus, which is a categorization of different species and genes and things like that. The word genus originates here from this word jinsi. So, rangi rangi pati kar kar, jinsi, the different species that you've created, the maya that you've created, this material illusion that you've created, jin upai, the one that's created all of this. You who created the many colors, the many shapes and types, the creatures of many different species, and the illusionary matter, all of Maya, all of this illusion, all of the physical world, the physical matter that you have created, you're the creative force behind all of them. You are the one that's behind all of these creations of different colors and sizes. And then what did you do once you created them? And what are you doing at every moment that you created them? Kar kar vekhe kita apna jiv tis di vadiyai. By doing so, by creating all of these things, this oneness sits and observes all of them. It watches everything. It observes what it has done. Kar kar vekhe kita apna. It sits back and it watches all that it has created, that which is kita apna, its own creation. It watches it. Jiv tis di vadiyai, according to its own will, according to its own vadiyai, it looks and it observes its own greatness. It observes what it has created. So your creation is so great that nobody can understand how you've created it. Even today, nobody knows how matter is created. Nobody knows how this universe has been created. There are ideas and there are theories, but nobody knows. Look at the whole universe. Where did it come from? How did it just spring out of nowhere? Guru is saying that look at this great power that has created this whole universe. Nothing appears just by itself. There is this creativity that's there. There is some power that's created the universe. Whether you like to call it a god or not really doesn't matter. Everyone can appreciate that there's something that created this whole universe. What is that something? This is that something that Guru is talking about. And this something that creates everything, it's there now. It's not something that's created it and gone away. It's actually sitting and observing everything. It's infused into everything. And this is where we can start looking at old, ancient spiritual traditions and very New Age traditions. Because the New Age traditions all talk about the observer. It talks about consciousness. It talks about the witness, the one that observes everything. Here we can look at Gurbani that actually gives the same description. That this creative power that created everything, it's sitting there and it's watching all of its createness. It's watching all of its creativity. It's watching its own greatness. It knows when it creates something. It knows when it destroys something. It's the only thing that actually knows anything about creation. And another way to look at this word, vekhe, is that not only are you observing your whole creation, but you're watching over it. So another way that people translate this is that you create everything and then you vekhe, you watch over it, you look after everything. So what is keeping us alive right now? Who knows? Just think about it. You're alive right now. What's making you alive? The scientists could say, oh, it's your heart beating. But that's just a pump, that's just a mechanism. What's keeping that heart pumping? What's sending those electric signals to the heart? What's keeping your brain buzzing and vibrant and alive and alert, awake? Within you right now, there's this energy of aliveness that we have no idea what it is. And it's there. And it's in everything all around us. So you are this, it's talking to something very close, very personal to you. It's not you in your great mansion in the sky. This is why Guru said, where are you? Where's your door? And then Guru says, actually, I can see your door everywhere. Because in the very aliveness of all of creation, in everything that's being created, think about the tiniest worms and maggots and insects, and them just living their own lives and being created and being destroyed. Guru says, I can see that they're all singing your praises, because they're all a song of life. They're all just life singing its song. This is the gavan that Guru keeps talking about. Life is just buzzing and singing all around us, and it's happening to us as we speak. But because we're so lost in the mind, because we spend all of our life just trying to collect things and look after our own little surroundings, that we forget that we're alive. And the very fact that you're alive means that there's something right here with you, and that's worthy of praise. just for a moment, regardless of whether you see yourself as religious or not, belonging to any religion or being completely agnostic or atheist, you can all appreciate that you're alive, and everything alive around you is just buzzing, is vibrating, is bursting with aliveness. What is that aliveness? Guru Nanak says that aliveness is worthy of our time, worthy of our attention, and worthy of our praise. Because without it, you wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist. So, Guru says that this aliveness is everywhere. It's conscious, it's awake, it's looking after everything, it's keeping us alive. Jyotis pave, soi karsi, hukam na karna jaye. Whatever is pleasing to you, Jyotis pave, whatever pleases this aliveness, soi karsi, that's what it does. It just does what it does. Hukam na karna jaye, and we cannot command it. There's nothing that we can say to life. There's nothing, no command that we can give to the oneness. Gurbani actually says, Nanak hukam na chale nal khasam chale ardas. That there is no command that you can give to this thing. If you want something, the only thing that you can do is you can ask. You can do an ardas, but you can't command over it. That just goes to show, what are we doing? Are we having any expectations, even in our ardas? Do we have any sort of expectations that says, you know what, I've done this much now, I've done 100 Akhand Paths, I've done 1,000,000 Chaupai Sahibs, I've done 100,000 Akhand Paths, and I've done so many ardas. By now you should have listened to me. If there's any part of you that thinks that you have a say in what the universe has to do, that you can somehow control it, even by doing lots and lots of asking, that's not really an ardas then. It's not an ardas if you have an expectation at the end of it. If you think, come on, now's enough, you really should listen to me by now. Nanak hukam na chale. There is no hukam that this king is going to listen to. This king is not going to listen to its own child that it's created. The very thing that it is inside, it is part of you. What are you going to ask life of? Just be thankful that life exists. And just be thankful that you have the ability to know that it exists. You are conscious of life itself. That's not a small thing. You have a guru to thank just for being conscious that you know that life exists. So, hukam na karna jaye. There is nothing that you can say to give command over this. He is the commander. This is the commander. Hukmi hovanakar hukam na kahya jaye. It is by its hukam, it is by its divine will that it has created creation. So there's no hukam that you can say. There's nothing that you can say that's going to change its mind. And so Guruji brings back this idea of hukam. Notice how everything that we've talked about fits really nicely with the very beginning verses of Japji Sahib. The Mool Mantar, the opening salok, the first verse, Nanak hukam na chalai, nal khasam chalai ardas. Guruji right at the beginning says it's all about hukam. So here, after singing the praises of everything, after saying, look at all these amazing things that are singing your praises, Guruji always ends on hukam, that it comes down to hukam. This thing is in control. You either like it or you struggle. You either go with the flow or you're going to find it really difficult in life. Guruji has talked about this even in a couple of verses ago in Pauri 25. Guruji says, Band khalase pane hoye. Your liberation is reliant on you understanding pana. You have to understand pana. You have to understand hukam. You have to go with hukam. Liberation, band khalasi. Khalasi means liberation from your band, from your bondage. Liberation from your bondage is happening only when you are liberated enough to know what hukam is. You have to go in line with hukam. And that means that you give up your liberation. Your mukti, you give it up. Because you can't have any expectation of liberation. This is why in Sikhi we don't talk about enlightenment. We're not interested in enlightenment. We're interested in just accepting the hukam. If the hukam says I'm going to be enlightened, that's up to the hukam. If the hukam says I'm not going to be enlightened, that's also up to hukam. What can you do? There's nothing you can do to become enlightened. Stop trying. Guru doesn't want you to focus on enlightenment. Guru doesn't want you to focus on spiritual powers. Guru wants you to focus on the very system of the universe. If you just go with the flow, just completely surrender yourself to how the universe is, then you'll start looking at trying to find enlightenment. But not because you want enlightenment, but purely because your way of serving this divine is to say, I'm going to serve you by just accepting your hukum. Band kalase paane hoye hor aakh na sake koi. Nobody can tell you any other way of enlightenment, but just to go along with hukum. And so Guruji ends the final line, So Paat Shah Saha Paat Sahib Nanak Rahan Rajai. So Paat Shah, this is the king. Shah Paat Sahib. Of all the Shah, of all the kings, this is the Paat Sahib, the supreme king. There's no other king that we need to bow down to. This is the ultimate king. This is the king of kings. Nanak Rahan Rajai. Nanak says, remain within its will. Go within its will. Its Razai is what's important. It's the way it is, the way it exists, go with that. So the verse opens by asking this question, where is your door? What is your house like? What is your mansion like? What would it be like to be in your presence? So however we translate that word, where is your door, how is your door, either way it's asking for clarification. What is it like to be in your presence? What is your door? How do I recognize you? And even though the rest of the verse talks about all of the different forms that are singing your praises, we have to relate that to ourselves. We always have to come back to our lives and say, how does that relate to us? Our life is a song. Our life is a divine song. And maybe we can start seeing our life in that way. If the great warriors, just by being warriors, are a praise to the divine, if the great meditators, just by meditating, are a praise to the divine, if all of creation, just by being alive, is a praise to the divine, then maybe we need to see our life in that way. Our very way of living is the way that the divine has created us. The very way that we've been created is part of that life song. So maybe we should start seeing the very simple things that we do. Going to work, that's your song. It's your hukum. Going shopping, eating, parenting, looking after your family, going out with friends, being entertained, all of that stuff is just part of your song. This is the song that you've created. So we don't need to look very far to find this God. We don't have to travel somewhere to find God. Guru says the very way that you're living right now is God's praise. But only few of them are aware of this. Say tudno gavan jo tud pavan. Only the ones that are pleasing to you, who have served this wisdom, have actually realized that this is what's going on. The whole of the universe is just your song. So everything that is happening is part of the divine hukum, that divine command. And when we recognize the hukum of everything, that's when we begin to enter the door of God. That's when we know how to open the door. So I think we'll leave it there for today. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.